trip with a longer layover in Boston, so Ani and I decided to head into the city and took advantage of the ability to explore places that we had not seen last fall when we traveled here. When I brought up my solo travels to my friends, they had requested I show the behind-the-scenes details of how we got to our different destinations. So here's some of the tips I learned immediately. We went to a lower level of the ski pole airport, and they had a station where we could leave our bags for the day. Most airports have this option or a locker system. The international ATMs will ask if you want the machine to do a conversion rate for you. But if you bank with a major bank in the United States, then your bank will do that for you automatically, and you will be able to bypass a fee. Amsterdam signs are predominantly in English, so there isn't much of a barrier for Americans to travel here. We followed the signs for buses and then looked on the board to determine which bus was heading in the direction of our first destination. We boarded bus 858 to Keukenhof. Keukenhof, or the Garden of Europe, is one of the world's largest flower gardens. Over 7 million flower bulbs are grown here, and over 100 flower companies partner with them. You can visit Keukenhof from March to May each year. I will put their link in the caption. We took the 858 back to Ski Pole Airport, and then it was time to master another form of transportation, the railway. Similar to the bus, you look up at the screens and signs and look for what direction you are heading. We wanted to go to Central, so we followed the signs for train 2. Next up was MOCO, or the Museum of Modern and Contemporary Art. Located in Museumplein, it houses art that creates social commentary and is reflective of our current times. I'm not the biggest modern art fan, but I found multiple exhibits and pieces that I enjoyed, most notably the immersive rooms like this one. They have locations in Amsterdam and Barcelona. I will put their link in the caption. Good morning to those of you in Minnesota. Good afternoon to those of you who are with me in the Netherlands right now. We got in this morning around 6 o'clock and we have been going ever since, which really isn't odd for me and Ani, my friend who you might remember from the Boston vlog almost a year ago now. We ended up having a layover in Boston, so we definitely explored the city again. We left the airport. We went to a place, I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm gonna call it Tate. It's Tatte. It's kind of in a financial district area. I don't know if it's called that. I know it's called that in New York. We had breakfast sandwiches, we had coffee, and then we also went to Brattle Books, which we never got to when we went to Boston last year. Then we get on the plane. We got upgraded to first class. I have said it so many times. I could totally sit in the toilet row, like the back of the plane. I've done it. I'll do it again. Whatever gets me to a place, I'm not picky. But now that I've experienced the first class life, there are some perks to it I'm really understanding, especially if you were going to do something like 12-hour flight to a whole country on the other side of the world. If you have the funds to do it, I totally recommend. Because I'm even thinking about when my brother and I went to Hawaii, we had to do 3 airplanes, and just like it was comfortable enough where I slept, but it wasn't as comfortable as this morning. I would say the food was good. The food was surprisingly good. I thought it was just gonna be some microwave food, but it surprisingly was very delicious. I did not get to have breakfast. I lived for that bed when your seat lays flat and you have the little duvet cover and the pillow. I thrived. I thought I was gonna get like 2 hours of sleep, get up, do some work. No, girl. I slept 4 hours straight. I woke up to the captain being like, prepare for landing. I was out. I missed breakfast. It was so nice. And I'm not someone who personally struggles with jet lag very much, but I think also if you are someone who struggles with jet lag, that would really benefit you to be able to lay out and sleep, because we were going with the timing of the Netherlands, so that when we got here and we landed at 6 a.m., I've been going ever since, and there was only one period of time, which was around 1 o'clock, where I was getting very tired and just needed to sit down. Ani and I are staying at the Leonardo Hotel. I don't know what part of town we're in. I haven't learned anything about Amsterdam right now, but I am within Amsterdam, kind of near Centraal. It's on the corner. I can see the street sign of Romer Vischerstraat. Don't know if that's right. And it doesn't matter what that street is because it's not on a building. I am so looking forward to educating people. I have learned so much about Europe in the 6 hours, 7 hours I've been here. It's like 2 in the afternoon. I have learned a surprising amount just of how different they are from America. And like I had that expectation, but even things like this, they don't have street signs like we do in the US. We have like a pole on a corner and we would have the 2 street signs. They just have them up on their buildings. Like that's the kind of stuff I didn't know before I got here. And it seems simple, but if I'm looking for a street corner, I would have been looking for a pole with street signs on the corner of the street. We went to a tulip farm this morning. I would call it like a tulip museum. I don't know what its technical name is. Is it a farm? Is it a museum? I don't know, but it was so beautiful. There were, flowers, landscaping, everywhere. The visual merchandising in this one building specifically, you guys are going to see all this in a second, what we did this morning and like on this first day. It was just like mind-blowing. Like that's the kind of stuff that I went to school for and I would actually enjoy creating, not grocery merchandising, which is what I was doing before. Can you imagine, just imagine like you go to school to be an incredibly artistic person who loves visual merchandising and then your job for the first 5 years of your life just to pay your bills is a grocery merchandiser. Queen, I'm so glad we're past it. I'll go more into that with the video and with the voiceover, but then afterwards we did come here to our hotel. We walked to a place called Albert Cuyp. It is equivalent to like a Walgreens. It's different than a Walgreens though because it also has some like grocery. It's just like a grocery health and beauty kind of store. It's not, I was gonna say Cub Foods, but then if you're not living in Minnesota, you might not know what a Cub Foods is. That's just a grocery chain that we have there. It's just a small corner store version of a grocery store. If you hear a dog barking or people laughing or men talking, it's because you're right by a window. So please ignore the beautiful city that's behind me. I will show you in a minute what my view is. I feel like that did not do it justice, what I'm looking at. Like this beautiful, these flowering trees, these beautiful buildings. This is the kind of stuff, like when I went to Boston last year, I was so impressed with the walkable city aspect and just like the ground transit, which is also present here. But then just like the beauty of the buildings. And I know they're older, but if I see one more white and gray box in my life that people live in, girl, I'm gonna scream. While we were at Albert Cuyp, I grabbed a couple of items Ani had recommended because I needed moisturizer, dry shampoo, body wash, and conditioner. And so I just said, what are ones from here that I can't get in the US that you recommend? So right now I'm trying the, I think it's pronounced Weleda Skin Food. Rich, intensive skincare for face and body. It kind of came out like a yogurt color. I don't know. It smells okay. It's very thick. Thick with 2 C's, that's for sure. I wonder if there's some like sunscreen in here because it really is feeling a little sunscreeny. So I think your girl is set for the next few weeks on moisturizer. This afternoon, I believe that we are going to be at least walking around the city, kind of getting a path down of the local area. Ani will be with me until I think Saturday, and then I am staying here until the 20th. So for reference, it's the 9th. It's Tuesday. Well, it's technically Wednesday the 10th now, but I will stay here until the 24th. The 24th, yes. And so I need to get down the walking paths, the main areas. I need to get transportation down. I need to figure out a path to get to the airport. So we're having fun. We're doing kind of more vacation related things, but I'm also trying to focus on slow travel. And then I'm also trying to focus on just navigating the city and kind of getting the logistics worked out. I forgot to mention that I came on this trip because my brother-in-law inspired me to quit my job and travel. Zirk said the best way to start the trip would be to take a canal tour and learn the basic history. We learned about the 7 bridges, the Opera House, the Amstel Hotel, and other historic buildings. After our canal tour, we went to Uncommon for a cafe break. A few words to the wise: unless you are looking to partake in using, you want to go to a cafe. Cafes are like traditional coffee houses in the US. Coffee shops in Europe sell mind-altering and psychedelic options. We finished our afternoon at the Albert Cuyp Market. Started in 1905, the Albert Cuyp Market is an open-air market located in the heart of De Pip, with over 260 local makers and growers selling goods. If you get nothing else during your visit to Albert Cuyp, you must get the fresh Stroopwafel. It is the afternoon of May 11th, but you are about to see what we did this day up until this point. I'm just giving you a quick rundown. I thought I would do it while I show you some products that I found shopping here, and some of these will be specific to the Netherlands. Some of these will be available in the United States. Some of these you can find anywhere. So let's begin. First things first, Droog shampoo from Andrelon. It's for brunette hair, because now I'm a brunette, no more red hair. And we're gonna see how it works for dry shampoo. The first thing I'm noticing about this is I actually think it smells better than Batiste, which is what I usually use. And it's not as thick, which I kind of like. It's a little airy, but hopefully it'll still do its job. Let me brush this through. What type of dry shampoo do you use?
I use either Dove or Batiste.
Do you find when you use Batiste, it feels like a thick film kind of on your scalp? This like has none of that. It almost sprayed like a hairspray. It's very weird. If you want to try it, you definitely can. I'm like impressed because I don't feel like that itchy
like
film. Yeah.
It's not even grainy. It's just like almost like. That's part of the reason I like Dove a little bit better. Is Dove just feels like air.
Oh, it's still recording. Okay, cool. So I usually use Batiste or Dove, and Dove I've found does not have like the gross film that Kaylee was talking about. I would agree. I like this even because Dove doesn't have that greasy feeling to it, but I like that this feels wet and then it's just gone.
Yeah.
Like
it kind of feels like a hairspray. That's
does.
like all I can compare it to, but it doesn't feel like that crusty.
Yeah, I don't feel like that powdery feeling at my roots. Like it just feels like, oh, my hair is clean again.
I guess I'll be taking 40 of these home.
Like that's incredible.
Batiste, you have lost my business.
I will now be importing all of the Adrelon.
We're gonna start with the eyebrows. I got Essence Make Me Brow Eyebrow Gel. You can get this at Ulta, but they have bigger line here in the Netherlands, or more options. I feel like they gave us this mirror to help us with our makeup, but I feel like it's just making me uglier.
Right?
I'm like a little, it's like a wacky funhouse mirror. On the inner part of my eyebrows, I used the Blondie Brows #1. And this will be surprising. On the outer, I use the Brownie Brows #2. I personally do concealer next, so I'm doing the Catrice Liquid Camouflage High Coverage Concealer. You can order this into the United States, but it is not sold there. You have to get it online. I am doing this in the shade 1, Fair Ivory. Then I'm using the Real Techniques Beauty Blender to blend all of this out. I will not lie, this is not my favorite beauty blender I've ever used. I've used it now dry and wet, and it's just not as pliable as I would like to really get in there and push that product in. I feel like it's kind of moving stuff around, but I don't know if it's actually attaching. For foundation, we are doing the Catrice Nude Drop Tinted Serum Foundation in the shade 10N. When I put this on my hand at the store, it blended right in, so I'm hoping that it'll do the same here. I know part of it is the Beauty Blender, and I'm also used to foundations. This is definitely more of a tinted serum. I've been having some breakouts last week, and it covers it a little bit, but I will say if you're looking for something more full coverage, I would go for a different foundation. For my eyeshadow, I use Catrice 5 in a Box Mini Eyeshadow Palette. They have testers that you can pull out and check the different shades, and I like this one the best. I think these are colors that complement me better than the other ones, and also I always think, I used to get something like this, I think from like Maybelline or something, and it had like one funky color within it, and I always used to think like, oh, I'll use it for something, and I never would. So now I'm just a neutral and kind of a sparkle eyeshadow girl. This one is called 20 Soft Rose Look, and I'm going to use number 3. I don't think they have names. I think they're just done by number, it looks like. I'm going to use this one right in the middle. For the inner corner, I'm going to use the lightest shade, which has a little sparkle with it. For the outer edge, I'm probably going to use one of these two darker tones. I'm not sure which one yet. And I'll use the Real Techniques. It's actually a concealer brush, but it was the perfect size, and they had limited brushes there, so I'm going to use this one. Next up, I'm going to use the Essence Tiny Tip Liner. Unfortunately, I did get waterproof, so I'll be living with that decision for the next 3 days. But we're going to see how it works. It's very, very little, as the makeup girls do. This will come as a surprise to no one who listens to my podcast. My camera died. So I did finish my makeup, but I was gonna just talk about the last couple products that I used.
Are you gonna tell them that it died from your hotness?
It died from my hotness.
Thank you.
You're not doing anything wrong. You're protecting yourself and your reputation for your children's sake.
Yeah, and I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm protecting myself for my reputation and my children's sake.
I used the Essence Contouring Duo Palette. This, I will say, you have to do a lot of layers. One thing I've noticed, and I will give the full review of these products, is I like them, but this is definitely like, if you love the clean girl aesthetic, I think this is for you, because everything I had to do a couple layers of. I'm a full glam gal, and I think it looks good, you know, here in the natural light, which is awesome. But I will say that it took me probably like 3 layers of this on cheeks and nose to really get any type of contour that I'm used to. I do also use a stick contour, which is going to be more pigmented underneath usually, so I think that's part of just the difference as well. A lot of this is like, nothing was necessarily bad, it's just all different products than what I usually use, so I'm just getting used to it. For my translucent powder, I use the All Matte Plus Catrice Shine Control Powder 12 Hour. Again, great. It's doing its job. Not necessarily anything I need to write home about at the moment. This, on the other hand, the Essence Lash Princess, I'm gonna buy about 10 of these before I head home.
They have them in the States.
I'm gonna buy about 105 of these when I get home because this is amazing. This thing, my lashes, they were coated, they were elongated, beautiful. And then for the lips, I use the Essence 8 Hour Matte Comfort Liner in 2 Silky Hazelnut. Love, love, love. And for the lipstick, I use the Essence Caring Shine Vegan Collagen Lipstick in the shade Caring Shine 204. One thing I love about this, as I said, I'm not really a clean girl aesthetic type of girl, but I do love a thinner lipstick. It's not super thick. It's not really like overtaking my lips. I don't feel like there's, you know, like the stickiness. You know how matte lipsticks used to be so sticky and kind of restricting? I don't know how to like rubbery. I don't know, it just gets weird. That does not do it. This is great. I feel great with this. And then finally, the Essence Kissed by the Light Illuminating Powder was the highlight that I used for today. One story I do have to tell you. Because I bought out the store, I got a full face of makeup, let me just say this, for $75, well, 75 euros, which is like unheard of in the States for makeup. So if you're looking for very good quality, cheap makeup, the Netherlands is the place to be. But because I spent that money, I got this beautiful bag for free. It says, for the sweetest mama. So that is me now. I'm gonna be carrying this with pride and confusing a lot of people. This afternoon, or kind of mid-morning, I should say, we went to go get the makeup. And then we also went to the Albert Cuyp Market. It's an open air flea market and it's blocks and blocks and blocks. It was just a great experience. It was really fun to be a part of it. One thing I will say is I have been in markets in Mexico and I feel like it's less intense than the markets in Mexico. They are a lot more like out in the street, bringing you in, calling you over, things like that. I really enjoyed just being able to kind of pace my way through it and walk through and see what they had to offer. And then after that, we did go to 3 different vintage secondhand stores, and I will have to show you the jacket that I got because I'm very excited about it. It was 20 euros. And it's beautiful, and it's about to be my very European style. So I will put that on and come back over and show you that. Girl, that's nice. Look at this thing. Real leather, look at that. You can't get this in the United States. This evening we're getting Fabo chicken, and then we're going to Vondelpark. So I will see you guys there. I'll do a recap of the day, and that's how I will end the day, and then I'll check in with you tomorrow. We finished the evening walking Vondelpark and eating Fabo chicken and frites, while the Stuck tried to fight us for our food the entire time. We began Friday in Museumplein, eating breakfast from the Rembrandt van Gogh booth and visiting the Rijks Museum. The Rijks Museum is unique because it was always intended to be a home for artwork and artifacts, and never had any other function before that. It houses over 800 years of history and 8,000 pieces of art from Dutch and European makers and artists, including Vermeer, Van Gogh, and Rembrandt. I just walked half a mile with my bags across town in 75-degree weather, but I've made it to my hostel. I think I'm going to end this vlog here. I want to kind of separate it because I feel like Ani and I did more of a vacation vibe. There was aspects of like backpacking and solo travel kind of on a budget, but for the most part, a lot of what I did this week, I mean, you can implement into your solo travels, but it's going to be a lot more expensive this week than it is next week. So I just think I'm going to separate it and kind of do like if you're going on vacation versus if you were solo traveling, and maybe talk about budget more this upcoming week and how to save money, and also options here that are cheaper, things like that, best places to go to get the best bang for your buck. That's kind of my plan for the next video. So I'm going to separate those two out, and I'm going to end this vlog here. I just really want to thank two people in this vlog. I want to thank my friend Lauren because she sat with me for hours back in February or March, and she gave me a whole heads up on what to do, how to travel. I mean, we spent hours talking about solo traveling, especially as a female, how to do it more cheaply, like more cost effective. And that was so helpful for a starting point and has been so educational now, kind of living it out and acting it out. The other person I wanted to thank was my friend Ani, who came with me here because, wow, I think I would have been in tears on day one arriving at the airport. There's a lot to learn. I'm still learning things. There's a lot to master here, and we don't even have a super big language gap. There's words we have in common and people here are kind. And so I will say, if you're going traveling, this is probably a good place to start because you're really going to get down a train system, a metro, everything like that. And then you're also going to be with people who receive your questions well and treat you with respect and give you good directions. So if you are going on a trip soon or you're starting a solo travel, I would recommend some place like Amsterdam because you're also not walking a bunch of steps or kind of in these old towns. There is a lot of technology, there's a lot of transportation, and that is super helpful as you travel. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel. I will be bringing back the Gratis Group Chat podcast, so don't forget to subscribe there on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and here on YouTube. And I will see you all in the next video.